Even nowadays, with many high-quality zoom lenses available, I would say that these large super telephoto prime lenses are still very popular amongst bird and wildlife photographers in general. With 400, 500 or 600 millimeters, they can give you a lot of reach, very good image quality, and these nice smooth backgrounds. And since manufacturers release new versions every 8 to 10 years, this also means that there is a good used market, which makes it financially a bit more attractive to look into these lenses, and they might be a nice alternative to a lens like an RF 100 to 500, which is a bit darker and slower. And the good news is that from my experience, they still perform very well with mirrorless cameras. In fact, I prefer the autofocus performance of the 600mm f4 on my R5 compared to my 5D Mark IV, which was still a DSLR camera. But if you decide to pick up a super telephoto lens, you still need to make up your mind about which one you want exactly, because there are several options. The most popular ones are the 400mm 2.8, 500mm f4 and 600mm f4. And in this video I want to compare the Canon EF 500mm f4 of the second generation with the Canon EF 600mm f4 of the second generation that I just showed you and that I've owned for around 4.5 years now. So I met with my friend Patrick, who owns the 500mm f4 of the second generation, and we swapped lenses for the morning. And I also took some time to take some test shots about image sharpness, about the image stabilization, and then we also wanted to compare a bit how nice or how different does the background look in terms of blur, bokeh and so on, and is it actually worth paying more money, carrying a heavier lens around and having a bigger lens that might not fit so easily in your backpack. Is this worth the nicer background blur and more reach? So that's what you will find out if you watch this video. And while some things are really specific for comparing these two models, the thing about the background blur and the reach is also applicable for other models of a 500mm or 600mm lens, also from other manufacturers such as Nikon or Sony. So first of all, it's important to recognize that many things in terms of build quality, design of the lens and so on is shared between the two lenses because they come from the same generation, the Canon EF Super Telephoto Generation 2 if you want. This was in 2011 when Canon announced the 400mm 2.8, 500mm f4 and 600mm f4 of the second generation. So things about the IS switches, the focus preset and so on is basically the same in these models. But where they start to differ is in terms of the dimensions and the weight. And the dimensions are something that I think people sometimes underestimate. For me, it was not a very nice surprise when I switched from my old 500mm f4 of the first generation to the 600mm f4 of the second generation, and then finding out that I cannot put the lens with the camera attached in my backpack anymore. It was not fitting. So I needed to take it off every time, and if you have done this in the past, it's a bit annoying. You lose time in the field, there is more risk of dust entering the camera and so on. So that's something you should consider. In most of the backpacks, the 600mm f4 will not fit with an attached camera. So in my Tilopa, for example, there is no way I can fit this. The 500mm should fit in there. So if you want a bit more precise numbers, the length of the 500mm f4 second generation is around 38 centimeters. The one of the 600mm around 45 centimeters, so that's 7 centimeters of difference or around 2.7 inches, and that's a difference that you can really feel. And it's not only about the length, it's also about the diameter. So the diameter is 15 centimeters for the 500 and around 17 centimeters for the 600. Again, 2 centimeters, a bit less than an inch. That's something you might notice, and don't only think about the width of your backpack, meaning how many other lenses can you fit on the side, but also the depth, because at some point if you have a too small backpack and you try to fit in the 600mm f4 with the lens hood, you just risk that you will feel it in the bag, especially after a couple of hours of hiking. The second thing you also realize immediately when you pick up the lenses is the weight difference. So the EF 500mm weighs around 3.2 kilos, the 600mm around 3.9, so it's a weight difference of 700 grams. If you shoot on a mirrorless camera like the R5, R3, R6 Mark II or R7, you also need to weigh in the adapter, which comes at around 110 grams, and of course you need this for both lenses. So when I was walking around in the morning, just having the lens in my right hand, I definitely felt a difference. It was pleasantly light to walk around with the 500mm f4 instead of the 600mm, so you feel the 700 grams of difference. But for me, that's not the most important. It gets more important if you spot a bird, you want to take a picture, and you realize that you can hold it more easily with the 500mm. Even more important, if the bird is maybe turning the back to you and you wait until it's turning around again and you see its head, and you know basically if you go down and you spot that it's turning or doing some interesting behavior, you go back up, it's too late. So for these situations where you might need to hold the lens for 30 seconds, maybe 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, there the difference is enormous and can actually cost you the image. I know going to the gym would maybe also solve this issue. One area where both lenses don't perform very well is like close-up shots, some occasional macro photography. So they have a maximum magnification of 0.15, which is really not that good. We tried to take some picture of some larger frogs in a lake in this morning. You can see they turned out quite nice if you want a bit of surroundings, but for really close-up shots of smaller frogs or maybe dragonflies, that's just the wrong lens. Of course, adding a tele extender can help a bit, but here I think an RF 100 to 500 is much better, and of course a proper macro lens would be the dream for that. Another thing you should definitely be aware, and in this regard both of lenses differ a bit, this is the minimum focus distance. So I had this also as an unpleasant surprise. I had a winter feeder on my balcony. I was shooting an old Sigma 150 to 500mm lens, and I switched to my 500mm f4 of the first generation. And I was super happy with the lens, but it had a minimum focus distance of 4.5 meters and my balcony was smaller. So yeah, you should keep this in mind. For example, if you are often in a local park and the birds come closer, or if you have this situation of a winter feeder and maybe your balcony is less than 4 meters, there it might make a difference if you choose the 500mm f4, which has a minimum focus distance of 3.7 meters, or the 600mm f4 second generation that has a minimum focus distance of 4.5 meters. One small addition, if you want to decrease this minimum focus distance, what you could do is put some extension tubes in between the camera and the lens. I did this in the past many years ago, and this actually solved the issue, but it's for me not the ideal solution. If you want the ideal solution, pick up the new 600mm f4. It has a significantly shorter minimum focus distance, but it also costs twice the money. So let's move to image quality, because I think if you spend so much money, this is something you want to be sure that the lens also delivers. And I did some tests just outdoor. I think my test subject, which in this case was just some wood with a nail in the middle where I focused, or a screw actually, it was around 8 meters away, which I think is fairly, well, more or less fair for a image quality test. This is a bit farther away than if you shoot some tits or small songbirds, but of course closer than if you go for cranes, geese or ducks. And you can see here the comparison shot, and now if we zoom in, we can see that both lenses are performing really well, really sharp results, even wide open. I didn't even bother to stop down because, to be honest, I think if you have a lens like this, you want that it is tag sharp wide open. And then if we zoom in the 500mm image a bit more, so that we have the same like size of the image than the 600mm f4, then we of course see that the 600mm is resolving more details, which was also to be expected. I took a second picture with this screw at the edge of the image, really just touching the image edge. And here you can see that both lenses are still very sharp. We have a very similar picture. The only thing you can notice is that there is a bit of vignetting occurring. It's not terrible, it can be corrected easily, but I found this was always the case with all super telephoto lenses I have used. I also added the 1.4 extender to both lenses to see how they perform with this. And again, I think the image is quite similar. Both have excellent sharpness. Just if you need more reach, the 600mm wins, and even at the edge of the frame they are still very good. And again, I was doing the tests completely wide open, so f5.6 at 700mm or 840mm. Autofocus is always important in wildlife photography, and I can report that both lenses perform very well. Again, since they come from the same generation, I also assume that they use more or less the same technique below, or the same hardware. And I had sometimes the impression like the 600 was a bit better with subject recognition. It was not a huge difference, and I'm wondering if this difference might just have been because with the 600mm I have a tighter frame, so meaning that I have my subject, the bird, bigger in the picture, which of course means for the autofocus it might be easier to detect an eye or other, or the head of the bird or whatever, but the difference was not enormous. And once the subject was locked, it was no problem that the camera kept the focus where it should be, so not like other lenses, for example the Sigma 150-600 or even the Canon RF 800mm f11 to a lesser degree has a bit this problem that the focus is going back and forth, but here it was really very good. I was very happy with the autofocus performance. And I also noticed this over the last almost 3 years that I had the R5 together with the 600mm f4 of the second generation, that the autofocus was really, really good. In my opinion, better than with a DSLR. Some people don't believe it, but both Patrick and me, we shoot most of our pictures not on a tripod, either handheld or maybe on a beanbag. So the image stabilizer is kind of important. And here we did some tests as well. And both of us found that the image stabilizer, most interestingly, it was behaving slightly different. So with the 500mm, you took the lens, you half press the shutter and you see a bit that the image gets more stabilized, but this effect was way more pronounced with the 600mm f4. I had this with the Nikon Z 600mm f4, even crazier, but this was a crazy lens. The Z 600mm has, I mean, it's shaking, you touch the shutter a bit and then it makes a small movement and then it's just so stable. It feels a bit unreal. The EF 600mm f4 of the second generation is 12 years old by now. It's not having such good image stabilization, but still I felt like you feel a bit more the moment you engage the image stabilization, that it's like, stabilizing the image. Both Patrick had basically the same experience, or he had the same impression. However, when we look at the numbers, they look actually quite even. So I did some test shots and I classified the images in blurry, okayish and sharp. And with the EF 500mm f4 of the second generation, 20% of the images were blurry, 25% okayish and 54% were sharp. With the 600mm, 11% of the pictures were blurry, 39% okayish and 50% sharp. So the differences here are not huge. And I was wondering why we then had the feeling that the 600mm would stabilize better. And I think it could be two things. Maybe the stabilizer is a tiny bit better, but because you have more focal length, this extra focal length kind of makes it worse again. So in the end, they're more or less even. The second thing I could imagine is that because you have more focal length again, you shake more. So when the stabilizer hits or starts working, you see more of an effect. Not quite sure, but overall, image stabilizer was, I would say, really comparable in both lenses. It was good. I'm very happy. This was the main reason I switched this 4.5 years ago from my 500mm first generation to the 600mm second generation. One of the main reasons was really the image stabilization, but of course you cannot compare this to the most modern versions of telephoto lenses from Nikon, Sony or Canon. I know that many of you are very curious of how much do you see this 100mm of extra focal length in the field and how different the background looks like. So maybe you already saw it a bit before in the test shots in the setup, but here I think it was not 100% comparable because the light in the background might have changed during this time when I was shooting first with the 500mm doing the shots and then with the 600mm. This didn't matter for the test shots because I was interested in the structures that were always in the shadow, but I'm not 100% sure if the background is 100% representative. So I want to show you some more practice relevant shots maybe where we were really taking pictures of birds, in this case of stone chats. and we were standing maybe, I would say, 50 centimeters next to each other, if even. So the image composition is very similar. We had the same distance to the bird. And in one of the shots, we shot without teleextender, so 500mm or 600mm, wide open at f4. And the other one with teleextender, so 700mm or 840mm f5.6. So let's start with the image taken with 500 or 600mm f4, and you can already see that the image of 600mm is much tighter than the one of 500mm. On the one with 500mm we have much more of the surrounding, and the background is a bit blurrier on the 600mm as well. And if we zoom a bit in, you can see that both are quite sharp, and the 600mm is of course still bigger, so if we make them the same size, I think here we don't see a huge difference in the background blur, but what we definitely see a difference is the sharpness. So here the 600mm is sharper, especially around the head or neck. Not sure how well you will see this with the compression of YouTube going on, so I put a link to Dropbox files in the video description. Just check them out if you want to have a higher quality comparison. So let's move to the example where we used the extender. It was kind of a backlit situation, not directly coming to us, the sun, but a bit from the side. And we tried to use some vegetation in the foreground to make the foreground a bit blurrier. And you can see this stone shed sitting quite beautifully on top of this Acer tree. It's not a maple tree, I forgot the English name. And then again, we see that there's a difference in the image composition. So again, the 600mm provides a smoother background and is tighter. And here I feel we see the difference in the smoothness of the background also more when we zoom in the picture. And if we make them both the same size, then we see even more clearly that the 600mm is just offering more details than the 500mm lens. So what are my conclusions, and which of the lenses could I maybe recommend to you? So first of all, I think if you want an, let's say, affordable Supertele lens, I think you cannot really go wrong with either of them. Even with mirrorless cameras, the autofocus still performs very well. The image quality is top-notch, maybe even better than with the more modern versions of the lens. And of course, you still get these very nice and smooth backgrounds. Which of the lenses you pick up in the end depends on several factors, personal preferences, and also the subjects that you want to photograph. So me, I switched 4.5 years ago from the 500mm f4 first generation to the 600mm f4 second generation. And I wanted this 600mm lens mostly because of the extra reach. Otherwise, I would just have gone for a 500mm f4 second generation. But I wanted this extra reach, and I was so happy a lot of times to have this extra reach and this a bit nicer background blur. So these two reasons are the only advantages of the 600mm lens, in my opinion, but they are quite big advantages. On the other hand, the 500mm is much more compact, it's more lightweight, and it's also cheaper. So it's maybe a bit more the nicer all-around lens. Also, if you maybe take pictures of subjects that are a bit larger, I'm thinking more about mammals or bigger birds, if you can get a bit closer, then this might be the better choice. And I think if this is the first Supertele photo lens that you buy and you come from a, let's say, 150 to 600 or 100 to 400, then I think the 500mm is just easier, because in some occasions you will miss the zoom for quickly finding a bird, or the handling in general is just harder with a Supertele photo lens. And I think here the 600 is a bit, it's a steeper step, or it's a bigger step, and it's a bit a steeper learning curve than if you go with the 500mm f4. So I hope this video was helpful for you. If yes, please leave a thumbs up, maybe subscribe to the channel, and please check out the Instagram of Patrick. I linked it below. He has some very nice bird pictures and other wildlife from Switzerland.